Back in March of 2004, Ben Wallace tallied 12 points, 19 rebounds, 4 steals, and 4 blocks against the Portland Trailblazers. This video will talk about and analyze exactly how Ben Wallace accomplished this and what else he was doing behind the box score. The first part of Wallace's defense that stood out was his almost psychic connection with the rest of the Pistons roster. You can see it here in this play, where he hedges out on the pick and roll, meaning he steps out to defend the ball handler in the pick and roll before switching back to his own man. And then he sees Tayshaun Prince switch on to his guy, Dale Davis, so Wallace steps out and blocks Shareef Abdur-Rahim's mid-range jumper. The Pistons were able to run this aggressive coverage because of Wallace's combination of his extremely high defensive IQ and his high motor and mobility at the center position. Watch again here, he is guarding the 6'1" point guard Omar Cook 97 feet away from the basket and forces him to pass out before recovering back to defend his own man in the half court. Now, there is no evidence from this game that Wallace could just guard point guards at any time, as evidence here where Eddie Gill dribbles past him fairly easily, but Wallace is able to step up and recover to block it. Now, this is the only true defensive mistake I saw from him this game. When guarding post-ups one-on-one though, he was nearly flawless. Zach Randolph is a pretty beefy dude, and here he tries to repost Wallace and is still about 16 feet away from the basket. Wallace stays with him perfectly, doesn't fall for any pump fakes, and contests him at the rim. And Wallace used that strength, ferocity, and athleticism to grab some pretty contested rebounds. Look at here while he keeps his elbow into Dale Davis's side, while he jumps up, contorts his body, and snags it. His low center of gravity was a double-edged sword, and you can see a couple of instances where being taller would have allowed him to either contest or outright block in a help contest situation. In general, Wallace used this trade-off of height for mobility and low center of gravity was definitely a positive for him, especially in the Pistons system. Now, let's transition here to talking more about his offense. As you can see here in this play, he turns a defensive play into a pretty easy basket, but his offensive contributions are a little bit more complicated than that. We're going to talk a little bit about his passing and a little bit about his scoring, and let me tell you, this is definitely the easiest basket I saw him make. This one-touch interior pass to Rasheed Wallace is by far the best pass I saw him make, so he definitely has the capacity to make these passes. However, in this particular game, there were too many more instances where Ben Wallace seemed completely disinterested in actually making the pass. Look here as Tayshaun Prince is wide open at the top of the three-point line, and Wallace, while he makes the shot, decides to still take a contested mid-range shot. And from what I saw, Ben Wallace deciding to take the offense into his own hands was pretty dicey. He has some solid footwork here, but look how he just slams the ball off the backboard. Absolutely no touch with his left hand there. Ignore the missed dunk. I will not ignore Ben Wallace taking this mid-range jump shot as a 42% free throw shooter. There was probably a better option than that. Through his offensive rebounding, though, and ability to put down a nice dunk like this once in a while, Wallace was able to contribute on offense. But from this game alone, it's difficult to really clearly state how much impact he had on their offense. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more Ben Wallace and other player breakdowns like this in the future, and also make sure to head over to overtimeheroics.net for more NBA coverage.